Welcome to week 4 of Habit Freedom. I'm Nikki Lampy Nalchajan. I'm so happy you're here. This is exciting. We are heading into week 4, our final 7 days of this 28 days. Before we start, I invite you to just close your eyes, take a deep breath, arrive in this space. On your in-breath, say to yourself, I am here. And on your exhale, let go of anything that happened before this class. And inhale again. And exhale anything that might happen after this class. I invite you to have your pen and paper and write down anything that comes to you during this class that you want to do afterwards. Keep your mind able to focus, and also remember to do what you need to do. So if you need to step away and do something, you are free to do that. And you are free to put your camera on or off, whatever you want. I am going to add the link to the workbook into the chat, and here are the two links. The first link is to the week 4 that I added, because I noticed there was kind of a gap there. We were sort of stepping into the end of the program without really fully stepping into the last week. Okay, so there are those two links if you need them. And all right, let's get started. So mindset this week is presence and perseverance. And the one thing that has really been standing out for me is the saying, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I find that to be so helpful because it allows you to really just be in that present moment. Is this how I'm doing this one thing? Is this how, if this were how I was doing the rest of my life, is this the energy? Is this the vibration that I want to be doing it in? And this is the week that sometimes everything changes, and I notice, and sometimes it doesn't. And I've done this process now multiple times, and I've noticed that week 4 is different every time. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to give a few scenarios so that you can think through kind of where you are and really settle into as you go into this week. So as I talk through them, you can notice if it resonates or if it calls something else to mind. So scenario 1, maybe you've been doing this and you have been just really committing and you've set everything aside, your habit aside, and you're feeling like you're feeling pretty good. You feel some shifts and you're thinking, okay, good. This has been a good restart. And you're thinking, well, yeah, this was good, period. This sometimes can lead to this temptation to sort of slack off in the last week where like, oh, I'm feeling good. This is better. And I encourage you, if this is how you're feeling this week, really stay with this week, because sometimes this is the week that you have these shifts, these changes, these where it goes from feeling, oh yeah, I feel a little better, to actually having some realization, or there's a bigger shift. So I encourage you, if this is where you are, keep going. Treat week 7 just like this own week 7, those last 7 days, week 4. It's like it's really this sacred time. Another scenario, you might have reached this final week, and I want to start that. Um, you've done your best, but maybe you have this feeling, well, I haven't been quite as dedicated as I wanted to be. So what I'm really going to do is, well, I'm going to keep doing it this week, but then next week I'm going to start over and I'm just going to do it. I'm going to really do the 28 days again, like perfectly. I encourage you, if this is your thought process, treat now like I'm really going to step into this now. You are in this no matter what these last 3 weeks have looked like. You've made shifts, you've made progress. You're in a flow. Even if it doesn't feel like you've done much, you are kind of in a current. So stepping right into that current and letting it continue to carry you forward, even if your intention is next week to start again, which is, that's a fantastic, I've done that many times, another 28 days, coming into it off a week of really being present and being intentional is very different. It's like you've already gotten started. So again, if that's where you are, treat this week just like it's just this really important week. Avoid any temptation to give up. Um, and notice all the things that you have done. Notice the things that have shifted. Even if all you did was read the emails, even if all you're doing is watching this one class, you're here, you're present. Notice. Um, and then another scenario, you might be feeling like sometimes, these things come and go. It's not like we always have one feeling and then we feel it the rest of the time. Um, Kind of like, it's maybe really not worth it. Maybe this behavior, it's not so bad, and maybe it's just really not worth it to be so extreme and stop it altogether. I feel better, but maybe this was it's not that important. And one thing I want to remind you is that your higher self that has given you this nudge that tells you, yes, this isn't serving you. It's not because it wants you just to feel a little better. It's not that simple. It's not that small. It's so much bigger than that, because what that leads to when you start feeling better, but it's not even about feeling better. Feeling better is kind of a nice byproduct. It's what starts changing in you. Sometimes week 4 is when you really start noticing these things, and sometimes it's beyond that. It's when you start it again and start doing it. Um, and that reminding yourself that you can't quite see what your higher self sees in you. What is this bigger version of yourself? What is this calling? Why are you trying to get this behavior out of the way? It's bigger than feeling better, looking better. It's much bigger than that. And you'll start noticing things that you say differently, things that you think differently. You'll start noticing different interactions with other people. You'll start noticing different things coming into your life. And they are directly related to getting these things out of the way. So remembering that when it feels like, yeah, is it really worth it? It really is. It is, because it is. Deep inside, it. It's just that your brain can't really conceive of it because it's bigger. It's which is kind of exciting and also sometimes hard because it's so nebulous. Um, okay. So I wanted to give you a minute to notice some of the changes you've seen. Just write down, especially things that you're noticing. What do you notice now that you weren't noticing before? Like noticing your choices, even if you don't make a different choice, but you're noticing you're making a choice. Noticing what you say to yourself. What do you notice now that you didn't notice before? One thing that I find as I'm still talking about like really sticking with it this last week. Um, it helps me sometimes to think in extremes, and I love using my inner child because it's just such a helpful visual. And today she's right next to me, um, so this is me. That's when I was 5, and she sits here and smiles at me. And sometimes when I have this feeling like I really want to do this, like so mine in these 28 days is processed food. And I'll be like, I just really, this would just, I really want to eat this. And then I picture her kind of down below, like kind of pulling on my hand saying, no, don't do it. I don't want to do this. You said you wouldn't do it. I don't want to do this. And then I have a choice. Do I look down at her and do I say, oh yeah, you're right. I don't want to do this. Do I like do that and give her a hug? Or the alternative, I say, be quiet. I stick her in a closet. I close the door and I go on with what I want to do. And that really helps me sometimes. It's almost like it gets my brain on board too, understanding that what I'm doing, that it's actually hurting me. And so then this is very helpful. But let's say, okay, so you don't always have these thoughts, and sometimes you still do it. And then that is the even most important part. So, do you, if you realize, oh, I shut my 5-year-old in the closet and told her to be quiet, and she's in there, and so what do? Do you pretend you didn't do it? You keep her in there and keep on? Or do you open the door, let her out? Sorry, I put you in there. Come on out, and give her a hug and then move forward. And your brain, okay. And and it really does. It's like you bring your brain on board with your body, with your spirit. And I just find it very helpful because she is this young version of yourself is this great way to connect because your brain can actually see, oh, that isn't just helping you because your brain, it's not like your brain's trying to hurt you. It's just your brain likes things to be the same and your brain wants you to be comfortable in this second. So it remembers this behavior, it remembers it makes you comfortable, and it doesn't really, it's able to just sort of move everything else out of the way. But when you show it this, then it's like, oh, okay. I get it. I understand. So then you're kind of bringing the whole thing together and it's starting to help you work your brain, your body, everything working together. Uh, and so that brings me to how you speak to yourself. And if the only thing that shifts in these 28 days is that you notice and begin to really care about how you speak to yourself, that will have a profound effect on your life. That will change everything. When you speak to yourself kindly, supportively, compassionately, what happens is you begin to expect that. That becomes the natural state. You no longer hear all these negative things that are coming, and you don't live in this state where being criticized and judged is the norm because you're not doing it to yourself anymore. So you're in this space of, of compassion, of understanding. And what happens is then you will notice that other people will reflect this same behavior. And when they don't, you will notice it quickly. When that's the environment that you're in internally, it takes a lot for you to notice that that's what's coming at you from somebody else. But when you are compassionate with yourself, words and situations that are not supportive for you, you have like an antenna and you notice it before it has to turn into something really big. And then it's kind of like this reflection thing, that how you treat yourself, you will start seeing that that is how people treat you. It's just a mirror. And then I wanted to point out that it's not like you're being all fluffy and you're not gaslighting yourself like, oh, everything I do is just the best and I'm just the best and this was great. And it's not like that. It's seeing what you do, noticing, accepting, being compassionate, especially when what you do ends up not having the result that you wanted necessarily. And going, oh, okay, and seeing it, maybe analyzing it, but maybe more being just curious. Oh, okay, that I understand, looking at the circumstances around it. What led you to do that? Why? And so it's this compassion, which can be, you could be cheerleading yourself too. But it's more about really just accepting yourself and continuing to be responsible for what you do without blaming yourself. Like, oh, okay, interesting, I did that. Oh, I'm going to make this choice this time. Um, okay, this. Okay, we're going to do a quick little visualization to step into, as I was saying, how sometimes it's hard to remember why we're doing it, or it just doesn't seem like, it just doesn't seem like it's worth the effort sometimes. So, this is a visualization. And so I invite you to close your eyes, take a deep breath in, steady breath in, steady breath out. And imagine you're stepping outside of your current day. You're kind of floating above or outside, or however it helps you to see it, out of your routine, out of your roles, even out of of releasing this habit, just setting all that aside. You're floating just a little bit above it. And now picture this as you're kind of looking at yourself outside the way you usually see yourself. And notice that this is a version of you that never even had this behavior, never picked it up, never had this habit. She's still you. She's familiar. Look around her and just see what you notice. And if you find yourself really trying to effort and imagine, just relax and just notice what you notice. Notice how she moves. Look around her. What's different? What do you notice? What calls your attention? Her presence, her energy. Notice if there's anything that surprises you about her. What does she know? Notice the colors, the sounds. This energy, this is you with space. This is you with clarity, with choice. This is you with freedom. So when you're going through your day, I invite you to let her walk beside you, to remind you of what's possible, this feeling, this energy, this shift. And when you're ready, you bring your awareness back to your body and take a minute to write down anything you noticed. Open your eyes. Even if it was thoughts, however this came to you, everybody experiences these things differently. A thought you had, an image, an energy, inspiration. Okay, and as you finish that, I'm going to talk about showing up, and you can add this to your musings or your experience. What does it mean to you to show up? How are you going to show up for yourself in these next 7 days? Be really specific. What does it mean to you? What am I going to do? Write 3 things. This is how I'm going to show up for me. I'm going to show up for my 5-year-old self, for my free self, for my true self. Last week we talked about honesty and renewal, but honesty. So I wanted to call attention to noticing your thoughts and noticing any sneaky thoughts you have, any tricky. I'm very tricky. So, and sometimes it amazes me that I miss it. And sometimes calling it out can really help you when you hear the word, when you hear these words in your head, you know something's up. So I invite you to things like, it's just this one time, it doesn't really matter, or you deserve this. There's another one. So take a minute, write down anything you notice that you do, that you tell yourself when you give yourself permission to do this. And a note about deserving it that helps me, because that is one I've really worked on, is you deserve this. And then I think to myself, um, I deserve to do something that makes me feel bad. I deserve this poor treatment. I deserve to not be listened to. I deserve to be put in the closet. I deserve to be small. And I kind of call attention to my brain, like what it's telling me I deserve, and rewrite that. And so I invite you, as you look at what you write to yourself and what you say to yourself, notice, what can you say to yourself instead, or what additional information can you bring to that to kind of call that out when you're being sneaky? Your brain's being sneaky. Oh, I want to do this. I'm going to figure out some way to get it done. So, what you say and how you will respond. And just by bringing it to your consciousness, you're going to it's going to change it just by looking at it. That's the beauty of being present. Just looking at it changes it. One thing I also wanted to talk about was the notion of being extreme. And I find that I often get pushback about, well, why do you have to be so extreme? Why does it have to be never? Why can't you ever do this? And that's not the point of setting aside a habit or a behavior, or, and that's an inquiry for you to continually look at. What, what I find is that in trying to make something moderate, or is that when it doesn't work, looking at it, because I love the expression or the saying, everything in moderation, including moderation, and how I have noticed that this it's a lot of times when that voice is coming to me being like, why do you have to be so extreme? It's really external voices. I would think that it was mine, but our culture has certain things that are they're hardwired into it. So when you don't want to do it anymore, you get you get this pushback because so many people are doing it. And well, why aren't you? Why aren't so just noticing that, it's very helpful. And noticing what is the right balance for you. And it is a continuous thing. You don't end 28 days and then have this thing that just stays. You're a changing, you're an evolving person. You're evolving always. So continually looking at it. And I found for myself that um, those attempts to be moderate were like, they were my downfall every time, because I was putting this label of moderation on something. It was somebody else's concept. So I just say that to call your attention to that, because I think a lot of people do have that in, there's a lot of social pressure. And so looking at what it means to you and continually looking at it. Um, mm. And it is good to notice what you say to other people. If you complain about it, if you commiserate, if you if it becomes a place that you connect with other people, it's worth looking at. A lot of times we connect over these shared things that we do. And sometimes that just leads to them being more ingrained. We feel better because somebody else does them. We kind of feed into our story. So I just wanted to call attention to that. And and then beyond, we're talking about setting aside a behavior, but the whole point is what we're doing, like why we're doing it, and what's underneath it. So continuing to go back to that, and then noticing what happens when you choose something that helps you, that makes you feel good, this decision, this thing, and then focusing why, what is that, what is it? How do you feel different? What do you do differently? And so, even if somebody is giving you sort of a little pushback, a response is to not even engage in the discussion of whether or not this is extreme or this is whatever, but literally sharing your experience of what you've noticed. And you don't have to make it be as a result of this. You can just shift the conversation. And these are things that I've experienced. So I'm just uh, sharing them and then allowing yourself to really feel this feeling. Like, what does it feel like to feel good, or to have this energy, have this power, have this, and feel it inside more than sharing it with anyone else, noticing it, so that then the absence of this behavior becomes a non-factor. It's literally not there anymore. It's what is there that is what you are focused on. Ah, okay. Now I think this next one might be about, I was going back and forth about this next visualization because it is, I do an abbreviated version of it. When we are, I wanted to call attention to when we come to those situations that, and I talked about it last week, but where it makes it so hard that you just think there's no way with all of this going on or with this particular thing, I just have to do this. This behavior just comes back. It's like what saves me. And I'd like to do a step into a visualization to notice what is under the emotion that we are trying to avoid, and stepping into where we can actually be with it. Because what happens is we're in this situation and we have these overwhelming feelings and we can't hold them. We're just like, I must distance. So whatever it is you do, it distances you, and you can deal by not thinking about it, by not feeling it. And so this is a practice to show yourself that you can hold these emotions, you can hold these feelings. And by allowing yourself to hold them, you can find out what they're telling you. So I invite you to close your eyes and imagine a situation that maybe recently happened, or that you just know, or that's a general situation that makes it feel practically impossible to set your behavior aside, that you just absolutely need it to cope. In this situation, I have to do this. Feel that feeling. Notice in your body where you feel this emotion, where you feel this discomfort, this feeling like I must push this away. I cannot handle it. Notice that part of your body. Notice, maybe it's your whole body, maybe it's many different parts. Take a deep breath in. Let your breath go to that part, or all the parts of your body where you're feeling that tension. Notice you're supported. Notice that this emotion, that you can hold it. It's just there. It's just next to you. It's not going to take you over. It's not going to become you. You're just experiencing it. And notice what that emotion is. Is it fear? Is it anxiety? Is it sadness? Shame? Regret? Just notice it. Take another deep breath. You're supported. This emotion is not you. It's just an emotion here to give you information about this situation. Your emotional response to this situation has information for you. So as you imagine yourself next to this emotion, with this emotion, but it's not you, it's not taking you over, it's just there. Look at it. And ask it, what are you trying to tell me? Ask it, how can I support myself? Notice that this emotion is in alignment with you. It's not your enemy. You don't need to run from it. You can hold it. Notice that you're okay. Notice it's here to help you. Just take a deep breath. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And I invite you to write anything that you noticed. If your emotion shared something with you, if you noticed how you felt when you looked at the emotion separate from you, if you had a realization about the exact situation that you were imagining, how it doesn't support you, or how perhaps you don't support yourself and how you can. Anything that comes to you. It's very helpful to practice these emotions, practice holding them when we're not actually in them. Gives us some distance. And that is also what is so helpful about meditation, being able to hold things, hold them and realize they don't have to take us over. Okay, great. Um, I invite you as you go into these next days to remember that you've cleared, it's like, I love the gardening metaphor. You know, you've cleared out the weeds, you've cleared out the old plants, prep the soil, you put in the seed, and right now things are growing. They're growing underneath the earth, and the roots are growing. And what you do, the sunlight is the energy that you give it, your intention, the water, and trusting and continuing to look inside for that growth, because right now the growth is happening inside, and you will see, you're going to start seeing it sprout up. I do think it's really fun to imagine what you could possibly see. And I invite you in this last few minutes, write what you can see, what you can imagine, what you hope, anything. What's going to come out of this seed? What's your inkling? Or what if I could make anything happen? What would I have it grow like? And you can be specific, like exactly in your life, or you can say what this would look like if it were a flower or a plant, if that's easier to be more general about it and more energetic. Just take a minute, write down, here's what I'm growing. Here's what's growing in my garden, and trusting that it is growing. It can be challenging. You can't always see it. It's where meditation really comes in handy, because the more you look inside, you see it before you see it. You see it inside before you see it with your eyes, and you begin to really trust and know, you know it's there. And you hear that all the time, right? People say, act as if. And um, this is sort of the mechanics of it. Um, as you also, I encourage you to take some time to do the week 4 prompts. How do I want to feel at the end of this final week? How can I acknowledge my accomplishments more? What would it look like to show up today, in this moment, in this minute, no matter what it looked like before now? What does that look like? And then there's also a visualization on the second page, and I invite you to do that if you get a minute. And it's picturing yourself taking the next step. I thought we might do it today, but I think we're good on our time. And that can be fun to practice. It's all a practice. Uh, Mantra: one breath, one choice, one step, one at a time, one at a time. And next week is our last class. It's really a great way to wrap it all up, look at what you've done and where you want to go from here. So I love the culmination class. And I hope this week goes, I want something other than well. I hope you are intentional with this week. I hope this week you make it whatever you need it to be. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. We do have our Q&A call on Wednesday, so please send me questions. I love the questions. And if you ever have a question or want to talk, please reach out. And I'm going to end our call. I'll stop recording, and then we can talk. If you want to hang out, please feel free. If you need to go, as always, and I'm looking for my recording. Okay. Thank you for being here. Have a great week. I'm going to stop recording.